Hi, welcome to Engineers and Mystics. My name is Peter Lussier, and today we'll be talking about the triangle of fire. Now, triangle of fire, as demonstrated by this triangle here, is composed of three components: oxygen, heat, and fuel. Now, these are the three components necessary for having a combustion reaction. Now, this concept may seem simple to you, but it is of the utmost importance. When out in the field, you may be trying to make a fire and unable to succeed. And oftentimes, this is because of one of these components is missing from the combustion reaction you're trying to create. And all three need to be present and have a certain amount of balance in order for you to have that combustion reaction. Now let's take a look at heat. One example of heat not being present in the combustion reaction would be having moisture in your wood. Moisture absorbs a tremendous amount of energy, and it is going to reduce how much heat is present in that combustion reaction. Now, fuel is pretty obvious. We can all figure out, if you don't have enough grass, shavings, or wood to continue your combustion reaction, it's not going to keep going. Now, oxygen is often overlooked but very important. Take, for instance, if you were to kindle a small fire and then you were to dump a bunch of shavings on it and then a bunch of wood on it, what's going to happen is you're not going to have enough oxygen present. Your wood's going to be too closely compact, and it's going to smother your fire. Therefore, the combustion reaction wouldn't continue. Again, with using the bow drill, when rubbing those two pieces of sticks together, you may be creating wood dust, which is your fuel. You may be getting smoke, which is your heat, but you still may not be kindling an ember, and that is because you do not have enough oxygen getting to your combustion reaction. So being able to evaluate that triangle of fire while you're out in the field, and do so quickly at times, is of the utmost importance. Now I'm going to do two simple demonstrations of how one of these components may not be present. And as I do them, think about which one it may be. Okay, I've kindled a fire. Okay, and now the fire is out. Which component here was not present, and why is my fire not continuing to grow? Well, it's quite clear. It's because I smothered my fire and oxygen was not present. Now let's take a look at another example. All right, I have my fire. And now my fire is out. What happened? Again, this is the case where not enough heat was present, would be one perspective, because I added these large logs to a smaller flame. And there wasn't enough heat present to cause the molecules, the wood molecules, on the surface of this log to break free and be emitted into the air. And that is how combustion takes place. It's between gases. One could also take the perspective that not enough oxygen was present. And that is because there's plenty of fuel here. Now, there was some oxygen here. There was definitely heat, but a lot of these wood molecules were trapped, again, in the center of this wood and unexposed to the air. Now, again, if I were to take this piece of wood and I were to chop it up into finer shavings, then I would have much higher chance of success of kindling a fire. Now let's take a look at when fire making is done correctly and all three of these components are present. Now, as I mentioned before in my other videos, I always talk about having a gradation of materials. And what that means is I start off with the smallest, finest material I can find. Here it's grass. Other times it could be some cedar bark, which I pulled off a cedar tree. Or it could be some really fine shavings. It could be a number of different things, but it's very fine. And then I move up to something a little bit bigger. Here are some pine shavings that I use. Again, plenty of air and oxygen can be present with the amount of fuel I have here. And then I slowly get bigger and bigger until I can place a cherry log or a bigger log on my fire. Now let's start this fire again and watch how I take my time to kindle this fire. All right, here I have a fire going. Again, I move slowly at the beginning to place each individual wood shaving on, not to dump it on all at once. And once those wood shavings slowly caught fire, I began to add the next gradation of material, slowly moving up to a bigger and bigger material. Now this fire is going. I'm confident that it's not going to go out, and I can enjoy the beauty of the fire. Alrighty, so today, again, we just covered the triangle of fire. Again, when out in the field, it's very important to be able to evaluate it quickly and to see which one of these components may not be present if you are not successful. Thanks for joining us today.